And, and we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Guess what? It's Friday. I moved my camera. It's not in the center of my monitor. It's over there now. So it is July 10th, 2020. My name is Travis. Welcome to the NPCs Weekly News live stream. Of course, as always, I am joined by the one, the only, Kyle via Discord. Hi, Kyle.
What's up?
See, there we go. See, he exists. I'm not making this up. He's not just a figment of my imagination. Okay, I'm not that lonely. Anyway, we'll get into that later. So this week's in this week's news, of course, we've got Microsoft talking about the Xbox Game Showcase, where we'll actually be able to see first-party Xbox Series X games being featured. Ninja comes back after a little bit of a hiatus there to start streaming on YouTube, and we've also, of course, got a little bit of chaos going on with Naughty Dog right now after the release of Last of Us 2. So we're gonna roll that intro and we're gonna get things started. All right. So, first story of the day comes to us from Games Radar. The Xbox Games Showcase officially announced. Here's when to tune in for Xbox Series X game reveals. The Xbox Games Showcase is coming on July 23rd. That's 2 weeks away, people. And it should be your first big look at a bunch of upcoming Xbox Series X games from Microsoft. Rumors have been swirling about the event in recent weeks, pointing to a long-awaited first look at Halo Infinite gameplay running on Xbox Series X. Microsoft didn't confirm any specific games planned for the event, though it did officially reveal when you can tune in to watch the event. Broadcast will begin on the 23rd at 9 a.m. Pacific time or noon Eastern, and the Halo Twitter account is on hand to confirm that we'll be seeing more of Master Chief at the show. I got a little typo there. So yeah, we will be. Yeah, I'm excited for some Halo Infinite there. Xbox made a major push to expand its lineup of first-party studios in recent years, and this will be their chance to show off what they have been cooking for the company's next big console. Other rumored titles for the Xbox Game Showcase are the long-awaited Fable 4, allegedly in development at Forza Horizon Studio Playground Games, a new title from Double Fine, and the mysterious project from the new first-party studio, The Initiative. You should also look or keep an eye out for another eye-wateringly beautiful look at Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 from Ninja Theory. There will likely be plenty of surprises as well, since all that still only represents a fraction of the Xbox Game Studio's potential output. Yay, Kyle, we're getting Xbox games now because we've seen PlayStation stuff and actual PlayStation gameplay. And, I'm sure everybody's probably like, well, what does Microsoft got? I actually hope we get gameplay.
What have I been saying about what the big gameplay reveal is probably going to be for Microsoft?
That's going
to be Halo.
Yeah, well,
Halo's got to show up there, right?
It has to. That's the key thing. I think because enough time has passed since Halo Infinite was first teased back at E3 2018, I think, when they did the whole little cinematic trailer and that, and then
something like that, yeah.
Yeah, and then we got the new trailer last year with Master Chief being picked up, floating around in space, and now we've had some teasers, of course, too, about the potential of the Brutes coming back as well, too, which is awesome. And that actually is one thing that we didn't talk about in last week's, but how Mega Bloks has the contract for doing like Halo and Call of Duty, Mega Bloks, the Lego ripoffs.
Right.
They had a leak last week that showed off some of the stuff from Halo Infinite that they're going to be releasing, which did confirm that out of everything, it looked like maybe one new vehicle out of it. The Brutes are definitely little minifigures as well, alongside Master Chief. You also do see standard UNSC military as well, too. And then they actually have a little more of like a display piece of a broken piece of the Halo that you kind of put together yourself. It's almost similar in the design to the Lego architecture, where you're kind of rebuilding part of or building up part of a piece of architectural history in the world. It's like you're building a piece of the actual ring of the actual Halo itself too. So, which I thought was pretty cool, and that's something I might end up actually getting. But yeah, so you're right. Halo is going to be the big one for sure. I think seeing a new Fable is going to be pretty interesting too. anything from Double Fine is usually pretty good as well.
Oh yeah.
Can't really go against Tim Schafer on that one. And then yeah, seeing some more of Hellblade 2, because the last time we saw anything was at the Game Awards last year. So I think that's going to be cool,
Yeah.
but it has to be gameplay. I think the biggest selling point for them is it has to be gameplay. If it's not, then I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, they kind of alienated some people by just showing mostly trailers. I don't know what to think on it.
I absolutely think they'll have gameplay at this one. There's no two ways about it. They've
Yep.
got to.
Yep, and then we talked about it last week, really, that they are going to start doing demos as well, where you
Yeah.
will be able to actually play some of the games that they normally have, like on the E3 show floor. So we'll be able to actually try some of those out ourselves and see what we actually think of these games, though, too. So maybe that's part of it where they're leveraging it. Is it's okay, here's a lot of trailers, but then instead of showing you gameplay, we'll actually let you play games. So maybe that's the angle they're playing from. I don't know.
Yeah, but still, I mean, everyone needs that selling point for the console that they can't get their hands on, that they can't even go to the game store, to touch, especially right now.
Mm-hmm.
Very limitedly, I'm certain, when things do open up even more. But uh, the people want to see the gameplay. That's what drives people for those day one sales. That's what drives people towards the holiday sales. They want to see the gameplay.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we've seen a lot of it. I think one of the things that we do really have to look out for here now, though, anyway, is just what the big thing is going to be, what demos can we play? What's going to be out
Yeah.
there? Like, is there going to be, I can't imagine a Halo Infinite demo. I think we're just going to see more gameplay videos because I don't know if they can containerize enough of that game into just a demo. So I'm curious to see exactly how they deliver on that. And then whatever else comes out. I'm looking actually forward to playing more Overgrown when that comes out too.
You know what would be really interesting, just to see them release like
But
a multiplayer demo, one stage, like a 8v8. That's the only thing you can play of it. Here's this little teaser. This is what the gameplay is gonna be like.
didn't
That'd be cool.
they did that? There was a game they did that for. It was just the single level, and that's in the demo. And
Didn't
that
they
was
do
it.
that with Reach?
I think so.
I
I
think they
think
did.
yeah, that's what sounds right. So wouldn't that
Yeah.
would not be like I would not put that past them to do it. That's actually an excellent point. So cool. Well, we got
Yeah.
a couple weeks to actually see what they do show off, and here's hoping, fingers crossed, that it's going to actually be some really cool stuff. Which
Yeah,
honestly, if it's
especially
Halo,
that would appeal, especially to their multiplayer crowd for next gen as well, because there's a huge Halo crowd out there that you know that does play multiplayer competitively still as well.
exactly. And of course, we got Halo 3 being added to the Master Chief collection as well too. So
Right.
that was another thing. So good stuff. Kyle, take this next story here from gamesindustry.biz, talking about Microsoft reportedly against publishers charging for Xbox Series X upgrades. What are they doing?
Yeah, so platform holder said to be encouraging alternative models for those who don't want to engage with its smart delivery scheme. Microsoft reportedly has been telling developers and publishers they are not allowed to charge players who wish to upgrade from the Xbox One version of a games to Xbox Series X. That's according to its source speaking, a video game source or Video Games Chronicle, excuse me, which reports Xbox is encouraging companies to offer free next gen upgrades either via its smart delivery initiative or their own scheme. Smart delivery allows consumers to buy a game once and play it across both Xbox One and Xbox Series X, with their save data, achievements, and other information synced between the two versions. So far, 14 titles have been confirmed for smart delivery, including Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Cyberpunk 2077, and Halo Infinite. Meanwhile, EA has come up with its own dual entitlement scheme whereby people who purchase Madden NFL 21 on Xbox One or PS4 will receive the corresponding next gen version for free, although has to be claimed before Madden NFL 22 is released. Microsoft is also encouraging other offers such as cross-gen bundles, either physically or digitally, where consumers receive both versions of a game. This kind of happened with the original, well, or I guess I should say with Xbox 360 to Xbox One, if you remember. Um, they had this big transition where people were buying the games, and some of them did actually offer that free next gen upgrade. I know, like
Mm-hmm.
Minecraft, a lot of digital games did, for sure. Like I said, Minecraft did. In fact, with Minecraft, I got the 360 version for free, and then when they launched the Xbox One version, I actually got that for free as
That's right.
well.
Yep. No, that's right. I remember that one, and then I also remember. Well, I got to think about GTA 5 because it came out for the Xbox 360, and then I don't remember. I know they re-released it, of course, for the Xbox One because I've got the Xbox One version, of course, in an Xbox One case. But I can't remember if you could take the Xbox 360 disc, drop it in an Xbox One, and play the upgraded version. That's one I can't really remember because there's not much to really change on Minecraft anyway. So that should really just be a step up anyway, just more so to a
Right.
console. But I thought GTA did the same thing, but I don't immediately remember.
They might have. Like I said, I know there were a handful of games that did it, um
Mm-hmm.
from 360, and even some of the ones that released, I think that even you there might have been a download version, or if you pre-ordered, you got the free update version or whatever. When it released, you got the download code that you put in, and it would just show up when you got your new system or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So there's also that.
Hmm.
Um, But they do also say in the article that this is the route that 2K Games has taken, positioning the 99.99 bundle of NBA 2K 21 for Xbox One and Xbox Series
What a
X as the
joke.
Mamba Forever edition. Yeah,
What a
totally.
freaking
Uh,
joke.
Especially when, like we said, previous gen. I think even some of the ones that offered the upgrade versions, it was like $10 more. So going a whole, like, straight up, this is $100. You're gonna get the upgrade when you
Yeah.
get the console. Hopefully you get it in the same year, because you're probably gonna upgrade your NBA before then.
Yeah, I bet you there
Uh,
will be a terms or something just like EA said there with Madden 21 that says like if you want the advanced version, you do it before Madden 22. I bet you it's gonna be the same way for 2K. I bet you it's gonna be
yeah.
the same way for NBA 2K 21. So fantastic. Uh, Yay. Well, then, let's carry on here to the next story of today. This one comes to us from VG 24/7. Microsoft is interested in acquiring Warner Brothers Interactive Entertainment. Microsoft recently expressed interest in acquiring Warner Brothers Interactive Entertainment, the Warner Brothers game division notably associated with the Batman Arkham series. The news comes from a report published by The Information. According to said report, Microsoft has expressed interest in purchasing of the games division of Warner Brothers, likely to bolster its Xbox lineup ahead of next gen. Warner Brothers is currently owned by AT&T, but the multinational corporate giant is considering parting ways with Warner Brothers in order to help alleviate its $154 billion of debt. The anonymous sources who spoke with the information confirmed that other potential financial suitors included Take-Two, EA, and Activision Blizzard. No transaction has been confirmed between AT&T and any of the potential buyers yet, but the company is actively fielding advice from Lion Tree Bank on how to approach a concrete deal. It was already common knowledge that AT&T was considering selling the company. If Microsoft comes out on top, its acquisition of the Warner Brothers game division will provide it with a variety of reputable intellectual properties, including Batman and Harry Potter. The Batman game, currently in development, is supposedly a soft reboot set to kick off a new video game universe for the beloved superhero, while the often whispered about but yet to be announced Harry Potter RPG from Avalanche is still expected to drop in 2021. I, you know, what else has Warner Brothers made? Honestly, like I'm trying to think right now. Out of everything that they've done in the years, too, is it's like those are the only couple things I can think of. Is like the
Well,
Harry
I
Potter
mean,
stuff and then Batman.
right there in the article for the picture, they got they've got Shadow of Mordor, Shadow of War.
Ah,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, and that's a big franchise. I know they suffered briefly from the microtransaction thing, and they kind of cleaned it up. They still have some of them in Shadow of War, I believe, but they're both solid games. I loved Shadow of Mordor.
Wow. Their first game that they published was The Matrix Online back in March 22nd of 2005.
Wow.
That's like the first one here in the list that I'm looking at here on Wikipedia. And then they did, yeah, Lego
Well,
Batman, Looney Tunes, Speed Racer, the video game, which was the movie tie-in. Um,
and I'll be honest,
yeah,
I'm not a huge Harry Potter game fan. I've never played any of them. I thought they all looked dumb. The Harry Potter RPG actually kind of looks cool. Um, I've looked into some of the stuff has leaked onto that, and I don't know, that looks to be a big franchise, I think.
they made Spy Hunter, or not made it, but they published it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so a lot of Mortal Kombat though too on here that I'm actually seeing come up. They did Injustice, Lego Movie video game, Batman Arkham Origins, Lego Batman. I mean, it's kind of like it's a lot of the Lego stuff is really what they've published. It looks like, but not necessarily developed.
But
So
is that to do with their film licenses just specifically on those ones?
uh,
That they worked with whoever does the Lego publishing, or do they actually publish the Lego games?
it looks like they published the Lego games because I'm seeing like Lego Star Wars in here too,
Oh,
which is a surprise because you think especially with everything being owned by Disney now, and it sounds like there was that supposed rumor they were trying to restart the LucasArts stuff again.
yeah.
But
Well, and you
I
think
don't know.
about all the companies that Microsoft has been picking up lately. I would think this would be a no-brainer for them to pick up if it's even being talked about.
Yeah, and supposedly they're the ones who are going to be responsible for publishing. S- I'm looking right at it, but I can't say it. I don't know why. Cyberpunk 2077.
Oh
Like for some
wow.
reason, it says they're going to be a part of it because it's
Well,
like I'm in
and
the list of
that makes sense
their
too because
games.
all the exclusive consoles and everything, the controllers. I don't think Sony has any console special editions that they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's a little ridiculous for Microsoft to be putting one out so late
Mm-hmm.
in the generation, especially on the cusp of bringing out their new console. But that would make sense. They've already got that partnership kind of real close right there.
Yeah, that's yeah. I think for them to actually go and like if Microsoft was the one who did end up actually like picking these guys up, if the expectation is to kind of bolster their stuff for the next gen console, unless like Warner Brothers is actually working on something that's coming out soon that might need to fill that gap, whether it is the Harry Potter RPG or it's the next Batman game, whatever it is. I just don't know if it's going to be ready for next gen release, like prime time. I'm thinking like next year before we see anything. So
Yeah,
I would see it better, probably not with Microsoft, but excuse me, with someone else here, like they said in the article, Take Two, EA, or Activision Blizzard. So that's
maybe.
yeah, so that's gonna be kind of an interesting one to see how it develops, of course, too, because whoever ultimately does end up owning them, you know, it's uh, it's gonna be. I think they're gonna end up having a really good collection of games to work with the Lego series, with the Mortal Kombat series as well too, and Mortal Kombat, Lego series, Batman, Harry Potter. I think there's, and then of course if they want to go back to Lord of the Rings stuff, especially imagine like a what is it, Shadow of Mordor on Xbox Series X or even PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
I think that would actually look pretty cool. But
You know what I would like to see if they were going to do a Lord of the Rings is they remake the what was it, the PlayStation 2, GameCube, like Two Towers games, like put all the ones that they did all in one game. That would be really cool.
that honestly, yes, I think that would be on point. Like I would love. Actually, no,
Yeah.
I'd pay top dollar for all that. But
Yeah, just redo it, redo it with next gen graphics and everything. Same game,
mhm,
same, three. I think it was three games. But put them all together.
yes, absolutely. Absolutely do it. So,
Right.
now talking about, of course, a moneymaker, let's go ahead and move on to our next story here. Kyle, Ninja returned. Talk to us about Ninja, the story from The Verge here. Ninja starts streaming on YouTube after Microsoft shuts down Mixer. So, what in God's name is Ninja doing on YouTube?
Well, this crazy guy, one of the biggest names in streaming, is heading to YouTube. Today, Tyler Ninja Blevins started streaming on Google's platform, finding a new home after the surprise closure of Microsoft's Mixer. Ninja teased the stream earlier today in a tweet and started his new YouTube venture with a Fortnite stream alongside Dr. Lupo, uh, Tim the Tapman, and Courage. It's not clear yet whether this is an exclusive deal or if Ninja will feature on other platforms like Twitch as well. Today's stream was his first ever on YouTube. This news comes after Microsoft made the surprise announcement that it would be shuttering Mixer and transitioning its live streaming efforts to Facebook Gaming. Streamers who had signed exclusive deals with Microsoft, which included not only Blevins, but also popular names like Michael Shroud, uh, Gr- Grziski.
I think it's like
Sorry if I'm,
Grezseek or something like that. I don't know. I'm right
I
there
don't
with you.
know.
Yeah,
And we'll just go with Ewok Wheeler on this one.
that's fine.
And we're given the option to either move to Facebook or shift to another platform altogether. Blevin's original move to Mixer set off a big shift in the streaming industry as a platform like YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch all scrambled to sign top tier talents to exclusive deals. And while Ninja viewership declined significantly after moving away from Twitch, his cultural presence arguably grew during his Mixer period. He launched an apparel line with Adidas and became the first streamer to have their own Fortnite skin, among many other ventures.
Yeah, so yay for Ninja, I guess, finding a home, I
Yeah,
suppose. And of course, that last bit
yeah,
there, when they're talking about, where Ninja went off to Mixer and then Shroud and Ewok went over there as well, too. Dr. Disrespected also signed on a contract there, and we already know where he's at, too. So, well, actually, I take that
right.
back. We don't know where he's at. We kind of know, but we don't know. So, but yeah, I mean, that's for a name as big like with Ninja and that too. I mean, for him to have not been streaming for a couple weeks anyway since the announcement of Mixer shutting down is not, he's got plenty of money. He's got plenty of endorsements. He's got plenty of deals going on where if he doesn't stream for a month, he's still got money in the bank, and then as soon as he comes back, that money just goes up, up, up.
Right.
He is very marketable with what he has been able to do. So, welcome back, Ninja. Yay for joining us again, of course, in the far-fetched world of streaming. I guess I hope you enjoyed your 3-week vacation.
And a whole new agreement to sign to put out content. So
Yeah, exactly. Him and his cool $30 million to sit there and do that. But
right.
yeah. Anyway, next story here on our list comes to us also from The Verge. Naughty Dog condemns abusive fans sending death threats and harassment to The Last of Us 2 team. We must all work together to root out this type of behavior. The Last of Us Part 2 developer Naughty Dog has issued a statement condemning harassment after several members of the creative team were subjected to abuse and hateful messages. Since the game's launch on June 19th, members of the team, including co-director Neil Druckmann and voice actor Laura Bailey, have posted several examples of abusive and often violent messages sent their way. Yesterday, the studio made a statement in support of their staff. Although we welcome critical discussion, we condemn any form of harassment or threats directed towards our team and cast, the studio posted on Twitter. Their safety is our top priority, but we must all work together to root out this type of behavior and maintain a constructive and compassionate discourse. The controversy started even before that game launched thanks to a massive leak that revealed several key story moments, including the death of a beloved character. This was followed by more innocuous things like review bombing, all the way up to hateful and violent messages directed at specific members of the team. Druckmann, for instance, posted a selection of anti-Semitic messages he received, noting, "You can love or hate the game and share your thoughts about it. Unfortunately, too many of the messages I've been getting are vile, hateful, and violent." Meanwhile, Bailey, who voiced Abby, one of The Last of Us 2's main characters, received a number of disturbing death threats. "Sometimes this just gets a little overwhelming," she wrote. In response, Druckmann said, "Unfortunately, this is not the cost of making popular entertainment that challenges conventions." Despite the controversy, The Last of Us 2 has proven to be a major blockbuster for Sony. The company says that it is the fastest selling PS4 exclusive to date, moving 4 million copies in its first 3 days of availability. All right, motherfuckers, let's just make this clear. Just, you could be critical of something, but don't be threatening people over this. I mean, I don't even know why I'm saying this. I feel like I'm talking about my kids saying that they hate each other or something like that. I mean, just honestly, all it comes down to is just show some common decency for people here. I mean, there's nothing that type of rhetoric, that type of angry messaging and throwing things out there is ever going to solve anything. It's never going to get you what you want. And you're not going to discourage, you're going to make them upset, but you're not going to discourage them from continuing to make games or contributing to the gaming environment as they already have been now. You know, it doesn't matter what happened in that game anyway, though, too, given the fact that it's a game. You're going to be sucked into the story and you might be upset about stuff, but unless it's someone in real life that is, you know, dying or growing up or changing or something like that, it's a game. Okay. And as gamers, you know, that's something that a lot of us can really separate and, you know, ultimately understand, but there's still a small subset of us that are so dedicated to gaming that when they get sucked into a game, something about their worldview changes, the way they look at things, and they just become vile, hateful people. So stop it. Shame on you. And
I mean,
you know what I'm talking about.
You know, these people pour their hearts and souls, you know, into these projects working on this, and what it comes down to is it's their creative idea, it's their story to tell, and it's no one else's. It's ours for to enjoy more than anything, and this type of hate speak just it's totally ridiculous. It's, you know, I mean, if it's the same as if you were to read a book and not like the ending and decide you were going to threaten the author. There's no point in it. It's not your story to change. It's not going to change how the story ends. I mean, you could write your own ending if you really didn't like it that much.
Yeah, exactly. And so I've got up here on the screen right now the tweet from Laura Bailey with the actual screenshots from her as a combination of direct messages and, of course, tweets directly on her profile. So this is bad. You know, this is pretty awful. Talking about, you know, what happened and so on. Of course, everything that's blacked out in the picture is specifically, you know, spoiler stuff there. And of course, Last of Us Part 2 is still pretty fresh. So we're not going to get any spoiler type stuff here. You know, if you want to see what goes on, you go either play the game or look the stuff up. We're not going to do anything like this right now. But the big thing for everybody to understand, of course, anyways, that this is a small subset of the gaming community at large. There's, of course, in the midst of everything that we're dealing with right now, like the resurgence of the Me Too movement, especially as it relates to streaming and that as well. You know, a lot of the toxic, chaotic people that are in the gaming world are not as pervasive, though, as there are like the good ones, the ones who play games to have fun, the ones who, when they do get upset, you know, do realize like, oh, it's just a game, you know, and honestly, for a lot of that's like us, you know, Kyle, Preston, myself, Dan, Brandon, Dave, you know, all of us past and present NPCs, you know, we're all pretty level-headed gamers. You know, we do get passionate about the stuff that we like, but at the end of the day, it's a video game. But just all it is, I think, is our PSA here is just be nice to each other. And of course, I need Kyle. I should have added in a nice little animation of a rainbow, just, you know, going right over the top of the screen here. But I'm not good at this. Don't worry, guys. I'll get better at animation here someday.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah. So, Kyle, next story is yours, dude. What is going on with Crash Bandicoot?
Yeah, so Crash Bandicoot is getting a new mobile game by the creators of Candy Crush Saga.
That makes me a little
Um,
sick.
yeah, this is, and of course, before I even start the article, I can say we can all imagine what type of game it's going to be. Um, so here we go. Candy Crush Saga creator King has revealed a new free-to-play mobile game for Android and iOS featuring the goofy orange marsupial Crash Bandicoot. In Crash Bandicoot On the Run, players are once again tasked with stopping recurring series antagonist Dr. Neo Cortex from taking control of the multiverse. You won't be required to play as the titular character. Instead, you can customize your own Bandicoot as you progress through the familiar stages and fight enemies from past installments. The game will be a runner game,
No shit.
similar to Temple Run. That's right. Where players can swipe left or right on the screen to move their character to collect coins or avoid bottomless pits. But it's not simply a Temple Run clone. The trailer shows the game plays out level by level, and that will be crafting weapons, throwable projectiles at enemies, and doing some light platforming by letting your Bandicoot jump on higher stages. The trailer also implies that we'll be able to play with friends somehow. There's no word when the game will officially launch, but Android users can now pre register for the game on Google Play Store through the game's website. This marks the second Crash Bandicoot announcement this year after 7 years or a 7 year wait for a new installment in the series. Last June, it was confirmed that we would finally receive a true sequel to the 1998 Crash Bandicoot Warped, which is slated to launch October 2nd.
Okay, so
Oh, yeah.
first thing I got to tell you something, Kyle. Okay, so I played the trailer that was embedded into the story, into the article, and
hmm
you're talking about the like actually reading off the article matched almost one for one with everything that was going on in the video. So when this is all said and done, and you can go back and watch the VOD, please do, because it's so funny how well you're telling the article it is lined up with the video almost one for one.
That's great.
Yeah, so kudos to you for just chance, for just stupid luck on that one. But I think honestly, I'm surprised it's taken this long for a Crash Bandicoot game to be made in a Temple Run style, because that's really been Crash Bandicoot. I mean, it's had some aspects of platformer, especially, when you'd go from running straight ahead anyway to some of the side by side stuff. But really, it's been one of those things that if you look at it, it's like, why wasn't this done in the first place? So
Right.
that's not necessarily a bad thing. And I mean, the Candy Crush team, King, that's the publisher's name, getting in on this anyway, it's probably not bad. I didn't think they've made anything else other than the Candy Crush games. I'm sure they've made some other stuff, but I thought most of their games followed the same format. Maybe I'm
I'm
wrong.
not actually certain. Yeah, I know that the big license for them has been like the Candy Crush and Candy Crush Saga and they've got the Candy Crush Soda whatever too or what something like that. But
Again, you're just filling it in, just basically confirming
yeah.
that they just rehash the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, and like I said, they may. I just know that's like their big major license.
Yeah, like I'm looking here to see exactly the games that they've made. It's like they're all the same thing. Literally, they're
Yeah.
all the exact same thing, except there's a couple little puzzle ones here and that too. That they're like, no, I take that back. They're basically everything is about this exact same. They have some card type game stuff in here too, but most of their stuff really follows the same format. But again, it's interesting that King is the one that's going to make it. I don't know when the last time was that we actually had an update from the team who made Temple Run all those years ago. But
Right.
yeah, that's neat. But again, I think Crash Bandicoot actually fits it. So this is, if there was going to be a mobile game of Crash Bandicoot anyway before this one was even announced, in reality, it would probably be something like this anyway, unless it was.
Well, and if you think about it, Crash Bandicoot's like the father of those type of games.
Exactly. Yeah, you go back and play any Crash Bandicoot game, it's going to be exactly that. So
Like, I
Not
mean,
wrong.
it wasn't constant movement, but you couldn't backtrack. You basically could go left or right. You could jump on enemies and you could move forward, and that was the majority of the game.
Hmm.
And I feel like that the temple run games was kind of a natural progression from that format. Maybe not. I don't
Hmm.
know,
No,
but
I think you're right. I think that's the big thing. All this is just somebody playing Crash Bandicoot without letting go
right,
of pressing the up button on the D-pad. So,
right.
yeah. Well,
Speed run mode.
yeah, exactly. No, exactly. So let's move in here to the next story, and this one's definitely a big one for the week. Sony invests $250 million in Epic Games. This comes to us from Polygon. Sony is making a $250 million investment in Fortnite and Unreal Engine developer Epic Games, according to a minority interest, or acquiring a minority interest in the studio. Both companies announced Thursday. According to a joint news release, the investment will allow Sony and Epic to broaden their collaboration across Sony's leading portfolio of entertainment assets and technology, and Epic's social entertainment platform and digital ecosystem to create unique experiences for consumers and creators. The investment solidifies an already close relationship between the two technology companies, a relationship that was recently affirmed in May when Epic revealed Unreal Engine 5 running in real time on Sony's next generation console, PlayStation 5. Epic's powerful technology in the areas such as graphics places them at the forefront of game engine development with Unreal Engine and other innovations, says Kenshiro Yoshida, president and CEO of Sony Corporation. There is no better example of this than the revolutionary entertainment experience Fortnite. Through our investment, we will explore opportunities for further collaboration with Epic to delight and bring value to consumers and the industry at large, not only in games, but also the rapidly evolving digital entertainment landscape. Okay, so exactly what I thought it was going to be is that Epic was blowing away enough, and we've seen the quotes and articles and that from uh, everywhere, really talking about how Epic really did compliment Sony on the way they built the PlayStation 5, the way they actually engineered the reduction in latency between the solid state drive and the actual processor, and that how they laid everything out. They've had nothing but positive things to say. So this honestly ended up being kind of a good next step, but I'm almost wondering, because of it's a $250 million investment into Epic. Is this the possibility that Epic might go first party depending on what they do in the next couple of years with game releases?
I don't know. But I mean, they do have their own game store. You think about it.
Mm-hmm. Because isn't
So I mean, they have the ability to release or to do timed exclusives on their own platform if they really wanted to.
mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's because wasn't
Yeah.
Horizon Zero Dawn announced for the Epic Game Store? So
I think it's coming out on Steam though too.
yeah, I think it is on
On
both because they're both broadening
Yeah.
horizons. But let's see, Horizon Zero Dawn PC. Yeah, and that's actually coming out here very soon because we talked about it. Yeah, so it's on Steam, and yeah, we actually did talk about this last week. So I'm surprised we're already
Mhm.
forgetting now anyway. But I'm pretty sure, yeah, sold through both Steam and the Epic Game Store for $50. So I wonder if that could have been part of the partnership then too. So maybe there's something with it being released on the Epic Game or on the Epic Game Store that might offer some sort of value maybe to it being there, like or a value as a part of the deal that they just announced, the 250 million. Because now that they've announced this, we're only a couple weeks away from that game coming out on PC because it's supposed to come out at the beginning of August. So maybe this kind of
Right,
ties
right.
into it. Maybe the Epic Game Store will have something else with it, that the Steam version doesn't. They're both going to look the same and they're both going to play the same, but maybe
But
something additional.
I had also seen a thing with the numbers, because of Steam or of Epic's total growth, over the last couple years, and that they're like I want to say they're a double-digit billion-dollar company now.
Wait, who is
So
Steam?
no, Epic.
Epic. Okay, sorry, you were
Yeah,
talking about both at the same time, and I was like,
yeah. No,
what?
sorry. I may have gotten discombobulated there for a second. Um, So $250 million, on the figures I was looking at, and I wish I could find the article again. Um, it is like it's only about 1%, maybe a little over 1%.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's wow. Okay, that's really
So
interesting.
I mean, yes, but you also got to think though too. There's other companies that have their foot in Epic as well. I think Tencent has a foothold in Epic, but
Yeah.
Tencent kind of has a foothold in just about everyone now.
Yeah, they've basically invested their money pretty wisely and have spread it out across quite a few
Yeah.
game companies. So that's no, that's definitely true, and I think they did the same with Activision Blizzard as well. So yeah, that's true. So it's gonna be interesting to see what comes of this deal in that. Whether it's gonna be like even if they don't go first party, do we get exclusive releases on the or exclusivity for releases on the PlayStation 5 and end up having to
And
hold
I
out?
think I think that's more realistic, as we'll get timed exclusives or even exclusive games on the PlayStation console. We might get more exclusive content for certain games on the PlayStation console. Like all of
Mm-hmm.
a sudden, uh, if you want certain skins, maybe that's the console to play Fortnite on.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah, that's maybe the big part of it. I mean, especially if like it's like in Fortnite, you can dress up like what was it? What is it, Banana Man or something like that? Just imagine somebody walking around. It's basically like a giant PlayStation 5 costume. So yeah, that would be
right? Or even just exclusive or exclusive costumes that are only released through Sony, and Fortnite's crossplay, if I'm not mistaken now, right?
yes, across the board
So
crossplay.
and for other players on other consoles, because Fortnite's a big game, they see those people that have that skin and they go, oh well, maybe I would need that skin too.
That's very possible. That could very well be the case.
Because there
So,
are people that go nuts over skins like that.
mm-hmm. Yeah, fun stuff. Too bad there's not a market for those skins.
Right.
There will be though, of course, probably. I wouldn't be surprised if we start getting into actual selling and trading stuff like on the Steam front. But as the laws
Well,
go
I'm
on
sure
about
if you look
gambling,
into it too, there's people that probably sell their profiles because they have specific skins tied to them. Like they sell their whole account to Xbox Live or to
it sounds
PlayStation, because they have certain skins.
sounds like old school World of Warcraft type selling too. If you remember when
Right,
when
right,
people would sell profiles.
exactly.
Yeah. Well, Kyle, let's move into this next one here, and this one actually comes to us directly from PlayStation, and it's short, sweet, to the point. Uh, I guess we'll just talk about this one really quick together. Is the first look
Yeah,
at
I
the
kind of
box
figured
art?
this would be more of a discussion because
Yeah.
I did pull up just the blog article that showcased it,
But to be honest, there's
and
nothing else to talk about with it though. As soon as we see it, it's like
right.
there's no reason to write a 4-page article because here we go, guys. Look, so there we go. So that is what the official box art is going to look like for Spider-Man Miles Morales for the PlayStation 5. Which this is now officially the branding for PlayStation 5 uh, games going forward that you'll see on the shelves.
See, and
I
I
mean,
know
it's
it's been getting a lot of flack. I know from I assume it's the stark white on the top.
well, what's it matter? I mean, it's seriously like what the hell? Like
It suits the console, and I mean,
yeah, that's
really and
exactly it.
truly, historically, even clear back to I think even some of the Atari games, and I definitely know NES games and Super NES games and Genesis games changed packaging. We saw it with
Mm-hmm.
Xbox One. They changed the packaging even a little bit, even the text at the top.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they changed it with the Xbox 360, original Xbox.
And they
So
changed it. Yeah.
there's always a chance for it to change, but this falls in line with the laser blue on the console and the white that was announced with the inlaid black text.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep. And then
there you go.
the Godfall development team also dropped what their case is going to look like too for the PlayStation 5 release. And again, it's the same thing, just with their artwork on the front. And yeah, this fits the scheme. This fits the narrative, of course. If they had stuck with a black console this time with the blue accents, I'm sure it'd be the black bar at the top and the PlayStation logo would be in white. It'd be exactly that way. So I think this isn't bad.
Yeah.
It matches the need for it to step up for the next generation anyway. So
See, and I think PlayStation has always kind of gone for the clean, sharp elegance. That's all it's about. So
I want my
yeah.
industrial rugged. I'm gonna throw it on the ground, pick it up, and then use it again. Xbox look. Okay. I want
I
my.
don't even know that the Xbox is that. I think that the Xbox has gone for more of a cutting edge look.
I
They've
guess,
always
yeah.
gone. Yeah,
I guess
I just going to school for art. I feel like as a graphic design standpoint, that's kind of what each of that their companies have kind of always gone for as far as logos.
right. And I think one of the things too to look at, like, I think you're right on the cutting edge part, especially for Xboxes. Like, I think back to the original Xbox boot up, where it was
Yeah,
the floating, glowing gel
right.
ooze stuff there in the center, and then boom, Xbox logo. No, that's fair. That's a fair thing. I think that offered a little bit more of the ruggedized type of like look to it, in my opinion, for that original one. But yeah, I think as they went on, of course, it's always been cutting edge stuff anyway too. So that's very true and that's very fair. So, Kyle, because that last one, of course, was like a brief blip in things, talk to us about this next article and Far Cry 6.
Yeah, so I picked this article out of the couple because it kind of announces one of the actors. But Far Cry 6 coming in 2021. Giancarlo Esposito playing the villain. Ubisoft's next gen Far Cry leaks via PlayStation Store. So details on the next Far Cry game from Ubisoft, Far Cry 6 leaked on Friday via Sony's PlayStation Store. According to screenshots of listings for Far Cry 6, the game will star Giancarlo Esposito, perhaps best known for his role as Gus Fring on Breaking Bad, as the primary antagonist. As sorry, my computer's going a little haywire there. A listing for Far Cry 6, which appeared on the Hong Kong version of the PlayStation Store, shows a February 18th, 2021 release date. Ubisoft has not officially announced the new Far Cry, but now appears likely to do so on July 12th at its Ubisoft Forward digital event. Esposito appears to be playing the role of a dictator named Anton Castillo, according to a piece of artwork and a story description from PlayStation Store listing. The listing reads, "Welcome to Yara, a tropical paradise frozen in time. As dictator of Yara, Anton Castillo is intent on restoring his nation back to its former glory by any means, with his son Diego following in his bloody footsteps. Their ruthless opposition has ignited a revolution." Players take on the role of Danny Rojas, described as local Yarn, and who becomes a guerrilla fighter to liberate the nation. Rojas will battle Anton's military on the largest Far Cry playground to date across jungles, beaches, and Esperanza, the capital city of Yara. According to the listing, employees makeshift weapons, vehicles, and amigos, the new fangs for hire to bury the tyrannical regime to the ground. A gameplay description reads. So, while the listing on PlayStation 4, the description indicates that PlayStation 5 version will be released and that players who purchase the current generation version of Far Cry 6 will get a next gen upgrade for free.
Cool.
And then, of course, followed by the image. And we, of course, have to talk. In addition to this, the rumors floating around that the son Diego could possibly be Voss Montenegro from Far Cry 3. There's always been those rumors floating around that this could be the prequel story.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, and a lot of people are
but
really like making those comparisons too. So I'll bring this change back here to camera, and I'll find the picture of Voss really quick. Let's see, Voss Far Cry 3. Yeah, so fucking, I got a fly like floating around me here, like a little fruit fly or something like that. So okay, so here's another. Let's see, this is another story here from Polygon from today, which actually talks a little bit more about the possibility. So let me flip the screen back over here. So this is where a lot of people are really kind of talking about that itself. It's like, so is Diego in Far Cry 6 meant to be a young Voss from Far Cry 3? And they of course they make some comparisons here on just this one scar that's over the eyebrow. Of course, it's been a long time anyway for the other scar to have made its appearance though too. The only thing I can actually say about this anyway, like you were saying, Kyle, is I don't think this is actually the case. Mostly for a
Yeah.
couple different things, is mostly the actual like jaw line doesn't seem to actually match here. Even though this is definitely a kid though too, there's usually some features that will still stick around. The shape of the nose is definitely more pointed on Voss too. The way the mouth is as well too, even with that half smile, doesn't seem to really fit in here, especially if you like. I know I'm going a little more full analysis on this, but if you look at that top lip there
Oh,
versus
you're totally
here,
right.
yeah.
Voss's cheekbones are higher.
Mm-hmm.
But that aside, I don't see Far Cry revisiting a villain, regardless of it being a beloved villain like Voss. Even though that he actually wasn't the true villain of the game, um, I don't see them backstepping to go visit that. Uh, they're more about constant progression here, especially when it comes to Far Cry. Everything has always been moving forward. They try and learn from what little uh, differs from the game. I'm not knocking them because when you find something that works and it sells, do it. But when you find what's wrong, the few things that are wrong in each of the titles, you fix them in the next one and just move forward. And that's kind of how the Far Cry series has always progressed, at least in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. So, yeah, I think that's going to be probably the case. I don't think we're going to see a lot of Voss. I don't
I
know.
will say though,
Like,
if it's gonna be a larger playground, it's great to have all this open world stuff. My brother and I were talking about it earlier today,
yeah.
specifically about the Far Cry world because we're co-oping Far Cry 5 and have been since I think Christmas now. Uh, the areas are nice. They're expansive. They're great. And Far Cry 5 especially, there's a lot of extra stuff to do too. You'll find someone that if you actually search, there are people that you can do side quests for, and sometimes they'll join you as a side person you can have on your team. And you may have needed a strategy guide if you weren't just wandering around to actually find that person. But that being
Okay.
said, there's not enough to like keep you engaged with the main story. Like if you fluff out the regular just open world,
Mm-hmm.
that's great and all. But if you do it, you get to a point. If you do it too much, then what's the point of the story?
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like you put so much out there for side quests to do. It's almost like, well, there's a whole game in that. Then why am I worried about even completing the story?
Mm-hmm.
It's great to have these playgrounds, but um, you almost need more focused missions. I think that are different from just going into a base and blowing it up and then getting captured and breaking out of the base and blowing it up.
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
But
That's
I
kind of a
don't know.
concern
That
for me
that's just
because,
kind of my 2 cents on it.
right,
But
that's kind of a concern for me too, especially because I think about, uh, I guess the big thing more so with it is that, like Far Cry 6, of course, is kind of coming off of the heels of what happened with Ubisoft doing Ghost Recon. And, the most recent release of that game was in a very expansive, very large map. Is Far Cry going to suffer the same fate as this most recent Ghost Recon Breakpoint, and cause problems? So
but
that,
after the release of Breakpoint, they also said they were going to step back from some of their games and give them longer periods between releases too,
mm-hmm. Yeah,
because of the fiasco related to Breakpoint. So
mm-hmm. That's true. Yeah. Well, maybe. Let's.
I don't know.
Are you going to pick this one up though? With the way you're talking about Far Cry 5, I don't know if this sounds like one that's actually in your wheelhouse to pick up. I mean, unless you're just going to, rent it from somewhere or something and
I
try to play it.
honestly, I love the Far Cry games. I
Mm-hmm.
played the original ones, even the one I played the original PC one. That it's totally different from the I want to say the original Xbox version. There was like Far Cry Predator or whatever. It was different from that. It's referred to as Far Cry Classic now, and it's extremely tough. And
Mm-hmm.
I've played them all the way since back then. I've played all of them. I beat all of them through four, except for two. I take that back. I didn't beat Far Cry 2.
Okay, so it does sound
Um,
like that this is going to be one you're going to pick up, but you're with the way you're feeling about
but
Far Cry
I
5.
also
Um,
I also know what I'm in that the I'm in for when I pick up a Far Cry game. I'm going to go blow up bases and liberate a nation. That's literally every game.
no, fair enough, man. If you know what you're getting into, and that's what you like to do. I mean, a lot of people call that, masochism, but that's
Yeah,
perfectly
well,
fine.
I mean, like I said, Ubisoft, they found a formula and it works for them. But I just get to the concern that they've always kind of, I feel in a way, it maybe not entirely, but ever so slightly struggling with that balance of, is there too much wildlife? Is there too little wildlife? Is there too much to do in the open world? Is there too little to do in the open world?
Hmm.
Where is that fine line that we can gap it, and that stuff actually makes a difference in the main story?
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'll probably end up picking it up. I don't doubt it. Maybe not on release, but if not on release, I'll definitely pick it up when they come out with a potential Game of the Year edition.
Very good, man. Well, shall we carry on?
Absolutely.
Well, let's move in here to the next story from Polygon. Blizzard removing fee to change gender in World of Warcraft Shadowlands. Players can change their character's gender at any time thanks to in-game barbershops, which, side note here, you don't walk into a barbershop and ask for a gender change.
Yeah.
That's not how it works, and if anybody has told you otherwise,
Yeah, you come to get the old
yeah,
snip snip. That's the wrong
That's the
place.
that's the wrong
The
snip
wrong
snip.
place.
That's the wrong snip snip. Yeah. So
Right.
character customization is a major initiative for Blizzard in World of Warcraft's upcoming expansion Shadowlands. But Blizzard is also changing some fundamental customization systems, most notably the ability to change your gender for free and at will. In modern World of Warcraft, players interested in changing their gender need to purchase a $15 appearance change on the Blizzard store. This is different from an in-game race change and only allows players to change their gender or redo all their character customization at once. Players who want to redo their hair or other aspects of their character can go to the in-game barbershop located in most major cities of World of Warcraft. Starting in Shadowlands, players will be able to change their genders at these barbershops as well. Executive producer John Haidt revealed the change in an interview with Eurogamer. A long time ago, we had the ability for players to go in, it was actually paid service, and change their character. Much of that is now in the barbershop in the game, said Haidt. And as we were adding things up in Shadowlands, we realized, gosh, the only thing you can change in your gender in World of Warcraft is to go through this paid service. And we felt like that's not the right message. Haidt went on to tell Eurogamer that this is not a change the studio can easily patch into their game, which is why players will need to wait for Shadowlands to be able to change their character's gender for free. So, okay, again, let's preface this by officially saying that you don't go to a barber to change genders. You don't just, those scissors are not what you expect they're for. That's for cutting hair, not, yeah, that's, yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess that's actually really neat of them to finally, change that around. Especially
But the
for
fact that it was $15 in the first place, uh, that's crazy.
right.
And really and truly, it comes down to just a character appearance change. I mean, you think about games like, uh, well, shoot, like Fantasy Star Online. You can go just with in-game currency and purchase stuff to alter your character.
Agreed. And I think the big part of it probably is not necessarily like an engine change per se, but the way the database environment handles marking, saying, that's what this person is now, and then it reflecting properly in the engine. I'm sure there are some tweaks that they actually have to make under the hood for it to properly work. But with that, of
Right.
course, is the revamp of stuff going into Shadowlands. So it's probably understandable why, which means People who really want to change their gender, of course, and are playing World of Warcraft consistently, more likely than not will pick up Shadowlands and now be able to take advantage of that without paying the $15. So that's good on Blizzard for doing that. Kudos to them for finally realizing, of course, this is something that needs to change. I don't know how long the $15 thing has been there. I didn't even know it existed. I thought you just made your character and you just went on your way.
Right.
I do just kind of hope. I don't know why. Part of me hopes that there will just be like let's say you change yourself from like male to female. Like let's say you change yourself from a male Tauren to a female Tauren, and you go to put on like let's say some armor or something like that, and it just hasn't changed its size properly. Like for some reason, like it was fitted for a male Tauren, so you go and put it on, and for some reason, like things are sagging and just all over the place. Or you go from female to male, and for some reason, everything looks really tight on you. And it's like it's a little Easter egg just for a short amount of time, just to mess with you. Just like, oh, I changed myself. These clothes don't fit anymore. Just
I think it'd be funny
that would
if
be
games
cool.
just started to do that, like in general. Like if they had gender clothes specific, like that it was meant for a tall man. So if a shorter woman character or whatever, or a female character put it on, it would just basically be a dress. I think that'd be hilarious.
Like especially the female armor that is very gratuitous and really accents the
Yeah,
curves.
yeah, and a guy, or like a big buff guy put it on or something. That'd be
Yes.
hilarious.
I think that I just think that would be funny. I think that would just be I think that'd be a fun little Easter egg. Like after you made the change, like after the first 15 minutes, even if you put the armor on,
Yeah.
there's no negatives or anything to putting it on. It'll still protect you. It still offers the same level of stuff, but it's just a little design tweak just to kind of shed a little bit of humor, saying like, oh well, these clothes don't fit anymore, and then 15 minutes later it's like everything's fine, just to mess with you is all. But that's
Now
just,
you say that, I
that's
think
just me.
all RPGs should just have that. They should have, if there's a shop
Yes.
that's meant for a specific gender, you could go and if you wanted to, you could get clothes for your opposite gender character, and they might fit different. I think that'd be funny. It might be fun.
I think that would just be really cool. So basically changing things around now, let's talk about changing something also to being free in this next story. This one comes to us from Engadget. Kyle, tell us about Ubisoft and Watch Dogs 2 going free.
Yeah, so Ubisoft is giving away Watch Dogs 2 on PC this weekend. You'll need to log on with your Uplay account during the Ubisoft Forward Showcase. So, the Ubisoft Forward Showcase that's taking place this Sunday will offer more details on the likes of Assassin's Creed Valhalla and Hyperscape, as well as some other upcoming Ubisoft titles. While you might be content to catch up with all the news after... Oh, excuse me, my computer screen again. News after the fact, Ubisoft is sweetening the pot for those who watch the event as it happens. Live viewers can claim a free PC copy of Watch Dogs 2. If you log in with your Uplay account during the main Ubisoft Forward stream, which gets you underway, or which gets underway at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the hacking centered game is yours to keep. Ubisoft is also giving away goodies for other games to some folks who answer trivia questions correctly during the event. There's also a 90-minute pre-show which starts at 1:30 p.m. Ubisoft said the showcase will include more details about Watch Dogs Legion. The publisher announced that the third entry in the franchise at E3 2019, and Engadget had some hands-on time with it back then. Ubisoft initially planned to drop the game in March, but it pushed back the release date to sometime later this year. Perhaps we'll find out this weekend when it plans to ship Watch Dogs Legion. And I do think we will, especially with them giving away this copy of Watch Dogs 2. But it does sound like it is going to be a PC-only version, I believe.
Yeah,
So,
that we'll get more information, I think, for that one too, because if that's the only thing that they've said so far is to log into their their portal or their launcher on your computer and that too to actually get it. That makes me think it is going to be specifically PC, which they've given away Watch Dogs
But
1 and 2 for free at least once or twice before on console. I'm almost positive they have.
right. But that being said, with it being through your Ubisoft account,
Mm-hmm.
or Ubisoft, I don't know how everyone pronounces it anymore. Um, and them also giving away other goodies. They could also give away like free content for like Rainbow Six, free gun skins, or keychains for your guns, sprays for games, skins for Valhalla, or other upcoming games, or even previous games. I know that during previous press conferences and E3 events, they've given out tokens for people to redeem on their Uplay launcher that you can actually get specific like charms or stuff in games that you can only get through those events. Now that might be some of the goodies, and that also you can possibly get codes if they do it that way
Maybe,
to
yeah.
get games through like Xbox, Switch, or PlayStation.
That actually may not be the worst idea there. That may actually end up working out really well for that case. It just makes it seem like it is going to be more PC centric, and it's not like everybody has a PC anyway. You got a lot of people who
Right.
just go with their game consoles and then their phones. So, but if they don't have a PC anyway, then they don't really care, in the first place. But I'll be there,
Right,
on
right.
Sunday. I'll be signed in. I'll get my copy of Watch Dogs 2 and just add it to my ever-growing library of games that I'm probably not going to touch.
But you should, because it's a great game.
As-
And I think it's a great way for people that were maybe scorned by Watch Dogs, that didn't play Watch Dogs 2. Now's a chance, if you haven't. I know it's been a while.
Mhm.
Maybe log in, play it for free. It's a great game.
Yes, I
So,
think I will. If I'll get it, I will play it, and I will do that. I haven't had a chance to play Watch Dogs. I've seen some of it. Just it's something that has not hit just yet for me, to actually go back and play. So that's mostly on me. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and wrap us up here then with our last story of the night. And this one comes to us from Polygon again. Team Rocket's Jesse and James invade Pokemon Go. Surrender now or prepare to fight. Classic Pokemon bad guys Team Rocket's Jesse and James have been added to Pokemon Go. As with the hot air balloons in Pokemon Go's Tuesday update, which had a Team Go rocket invasion, Jesse and James will occasionally drift past on the game's map. Players that want to take on the duo can tap the Meowth balloon to battle Jesse and James, according to a news release. As Team Go Rocket's balloon prowl the skies, we've been investigating them further, Niantic says. The grunts piloting the balloons are just as perplexed as we are as to where these characters came from. From what we understand, Team Go Rocket has assigned Shadow Pokemon to protect Jesse and James as they seek to create more Shadow Pokemon. Players probably saw this coming. Data miners found dialogue for Jesse and James in one of the game's recent updates. Avatar-based items based on Jesse and James are also available in the Pokemon Go shop. Niantic said the Team Rocket leaders won't stick around in Pokemon Go for long, but did not give an end date. So I'm part of one of those Facebook groups that does Pokemon Go stuff. I have not signed into Pokemon Go since probably the beginning of this year now. And yeah, I can tell you from a lot of the pictures they're putting up, there's another part of this that they didn't talk about that's actually going on too, is that I guess supposedly Niantic hired people, or I guess those who have been longtime players of Pokemon Go who must be higher up in level to do something in tandem with this too, because there are people around our town that are finding Team Rocket logoed envelopes that if you open them up, they have some sort of letter in them and then a 3D printed Gengar figure.
huh.
Yeah, and it was interesting to actually see some of these things. The Gengar itself, the 3D printed, it's not like you can tell that it is a Gengar, but it's definitely one of those that was more like a rapid print, so you can really see the lines of the 3D print itself. But no, so there's definitely some of the, you've got your augmented reality part of Pokemon Go, but then you've got some of the real life stuff that actually has you looking for these envelopes in that, I guess, though, too. So either Niantic's doing something like that. I guess I haven't heard of it being as pervasive around the world. So it might just be a one of the comic shops here in town locally that might just be doing it themselves, just to kind of participate and do more things. But it's been pretty
Kind of cool.
it's been pretty pervasive in that Pokemon Go group that I'm a part of. So it's kind of
I
cool,
might
I
have
guess.
to check that out.
Yeah, I'll if I can find something, I'll drop a link to you there, separately. But yeah, it's kind of cool that there's a lot of people still playing that. I just haven't logged in a long while now. I just keep it on my phone mostly if one of my kids wants to, or my younger kid want to play it. So and not
Yeah,
waste
I
all my
think it's been
Pokeballs.
probably a year since I logged in, since I was in Philadelphia. So
Yeah, and when we took our vacation to California last year, there was all the same thing too. It's like there's way more condensed for like Pokestops, gyms, Pokemon raids, all these different things around there compared to here, where unless you're downtown, everything's kind of spaced out. So yeah.
right.
So that's everything we had really on our news topics. I think the only thing we didn't have mentioned in here, but in reality it didn't really require an article per se, is that Nintendo actually did a Treehouse Live event today. And they talked only about two things specifically. One, they went into more gameplay detail of Paper Mario, the Origami King, and some more details about the actual battle system as well, which we saw in their previous trailer, that they actually talked about how the battle system and the actual arena shifts so you can combo things up, and they go into more detail about how much more important that actually is. And then, of course, they also revealed, which a lot of people were excited for, but then, of course, it flipped around, is that I believe the company is Way Forward was going to be debuting a new game. And a lot of people were really starting to freak out because they're like, is this going to be a new Kirby game? And it turns out that that wasn't the case, and it's actually a licensed Bakugan game.
Oh wow.
So a lot of people had their hopes up for what it was going to be, because Nintendo came around before the event and said it's like the game that's being shown off is a third-party game. It's not a third-party licensed game. It's not it's not a first-party licensed or anything. So yeah, it ended up being some Bakugan game for the Switch. But I figure with the Paper Mario stuff, that's definitely, videos are out there. Go check them out. Go see how Paper Mario looks. It's definitely one I'll pick up to play with the kids, just sitting back and just enjoying on the big TV. But I think that's everything to talk about this week. Kyle, you got anything else that snuck up out there in the news cycle that is video gaming?
Just the one thing that I hadn't reported on. I guess there was a leak of games that were going to be published by Limited Run. Limited Run is actually known for doing physical copies of digital games. And some of the good ones on the list were like Katana Zero. Of course, everyone knows I'm a huge Devolver Digital fan, so that's one I'll probably pick up. But they had some cool ones on there, and I was actually scoping out the website, and they've got some cool ones coming up here really soon. So if you haven't checked them out, it might be worth it. They've got like a Star Wars racer that's coming up. That obviously a re-release, but it actually, if they've got a collector's edition that comes with a Full Metal replica 64 cartridge. So kind of cool.
You're talking the Star Wars Episode 1 Pod Racer re-release, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because that just came out. That came out, I think, just this last week. Like, it's actually on Steam right now.
Right. And Limited Run Games,
$10.
like I said, they're the guys that do physical copies of games that are digital only, but they are limited run. So
Cool.
as to the name, they only usually do like between like 250 and like 3,000 copies.
Okay.
But they're pretty cool. If you ever get a chance, check them out. They, like I said, they've got some really cool ones coming up that I was excited for on the list. I wish they'd quit announcing so many cool ones. I think I'm going to have to pick some up.
I think you're going to end up being broke here pretty soon just from all the games you're buying.
Right.
So, yeah. Well, if that's it there, I don't think there really was much else. But thanks, everybody, for tuning in, of course, to our news live streams. These are always fun for Kyle and I, to do and just talk about the news and go through the chaos that is the industry, every week. So with that said, of course, don't forget to follow us on social media. If you're watching us on Facebook here and you haven't followed the Facebook page yet, please make sure to do so. You can also follow us on Twitter. I'm trying to be better about posting. I handle all the social media, so I'm really trying to be better about posting things and sharing stuff out. So please make sure to follow us there. You can find all the links to that here in the actual description of the video on YouTube, or of course, if you're already on our Facebook page, links should be pinned there on our main page too. Podcasts, of course, every Tuesday, Thursday. Just go to anchor.fm/the-npcs-podcast and make sure to either follow us there through the Anchor app, or of course, we're on a whole other slew of platforms. I think we're up to 9 now. So if there is a platform you like out there, like TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Google Podcast, Apple Podcasts, you can follow us on there and get our episodes when they become available. With all that, that's it, guys. Thank you again for tuning in, and we will catch you guys all later.
See ya.